Welcome back here to ESEA TV. We are getting ready for the Curse versus compLexity matchup. We saw them play once before earlier today, and now they're matching up again. We've got the map selection is already done. We're going to see Dust 2 first, then Inferno, and if we need to go to a third map, Train.
Man, I'm so hyped up to see this. I was hyped to see Curse versus compLexity earlier today. There was that one match that was hard to predict. All the other bracket matches, you kind of had an idea of who was favorited. But when it came to this event, it was hard to tell. Curse was dominant online, but compLexity had the better LAN history. So who was going to win? It wound up being Curse. It was such a close match on Inferno last time. Went to overtime, double overtime actually. And then it went to Cash, a map that I talked to Hiko about, and apparently that was a map that they practiced the least amount. And from what Adren told me, their team is good at all the random maps, like Season, like Cash, like Mill. In an instance where it does happen to fall into play, they thought to practice those and maybe use them to their advantage later. So maybe that was part of the reason why Curse was so dominant against compLexity and on Cash in the second map to win the set in 2 maps. But who really knows? I mean, Curse has warmed up. They played a close game against Nip on Dust 2, 16-14, and that's going to be map number 1 in this set. However, they did get kind of crushed on Inferno in the second map, and it's kind of weird that we're seeing those same 2 maps in the exact same order for this set. You know, it's tough. Like, Curse is warm, but they also could be, you know, have a loss of morale after losing to Nip so badly on Inferno. Meanwhile, compLexity, I mean, this match is so important for the ESWC slot. The winner of this gets the slot. So let's just take a quick look at Curse right now. This is the stat sheet. I was talking about this earlier with other players, and we all agreed that, like, Anger and AZK really showed up to this event, and it shows in the stats right there. ADR for Todd, 93.7 with plus 33. Then, of course, AZK right below 90 ADR with a plus 5 KD. So Skadoodle, plus 3, 78 ADR. He's doing pretty good. Like we talked, he needed to really step up, and he has done pretty well at this event. He's made some huge plays here and there. But if you look at the tail end of Curse right now, you know, Adren, while being the in-game leader, definitely could step it up in the fragging department. I know it can be hard as an in-game leader to try to micromanage everything and make sure everything's going according to plan and that everybody's on the same page. But you really do want to frag more. And Mospec, probably a disappointing LAN performance for sure. I'm sure that the forums are lit up with comments about him. A lot of people were calling him out and saying that he couldn't do it on LAN. And so far he's had it rough. As you can tell, comparing it to the online stats, AZK and Anger are pretty much where they were online on LAN. Skadoodle is about the same. Of course, Skadoodle's stats are just ridiculous on LAN. Obviously, don't expect them to show up to this LAN and get plus 130 frags.
I mean,
but still did it well. But yeah, Mospec struggling. He needs to step it up. Looking over at the compLexity side of things, this is the LAN stats. Everybody in the positive right now.
Which is really impressive.
Yes.
I mean, you rarely see the entire team across the board be positive at a LAN event like this. You usually have 1 or 2 players that are in that negative range. So this is, I mean, really impressive to see these sort of numbers coming across. Hiko, we talked about it earlier, has been outstanding.
Oh, he's a monster. He's absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been really super. You look at his ADR too. We talked about it before. His KD was pretty high. But his ADR was a little lower. He plays that support position, and so a lot of times he'll get those cleanup. But you look at his ADR now, 90 ADR is nothing to shake a stick at. So really strong across the board for compLexity.
And Nothing's also been really strong at this event. He was a player that last LAN, I mean, he did good, and everybody expected him to do good, but it's almost like he just didn't have that fire to play. And I think that since the compLexity sponsorship that has kind of lit a fire under this team, they now realize they have so much support and that they could easily find themselves traveling on a consistent basis to international events. I know that if they were to win this match today, they certainly have plans to go to ESWC. If not, I know they've been discussing the potential of going to Bucharest DreamHack. Sorry if I mispronounced that city. But, you know, I just don't know, man. Like, it's great to see, you know, huge sponsors in the game, obviously, like compLexity stepping up and being able to support teams to go abroad. And I think that kind of has maybe – you know, reinvigorated this team, especially players that had maybe a lack of motivation, like Nothing. Who we mentioned that in the podcast he did with Fnatic, with Lurpus and Thorin and Karn, that he just really was missing that fire. And I think maybe this event and compLexity sponsorship has lit him up because this event, he has been that aggro entry fragger that I think compLexity really needed out of him.
Right.
And so this is a chance for compLexity to fight back into the grand final. You know, I personally think this could go either way.
Yeah, it really is a toss-up. I mean, like you said, Curse seemed to win pretty convincingly earlier, at least in their second map when they took him on. But compLexity now playing a little bit of a different game. They've gotten here. They've gotten the lower bracket. As we said, Curse coming off a bad beat by NIP. And that can, even though you know you're playing the top team in the world, getting beaten bad like that can be pretty tough. But we are in this match now. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we are about to go live with this match in just a moment. It will be the pistol round coming up here as we are waiting to see if Curse could try to continue their success on Dust 2 that they actually did have against NIP where they won the pistol round. So far, it is going to look good as Anger did go ahead and get the first pick, but now we are watching Curse coming up long right now. Sean Gares, very nice shot there to start to put a halt to the rush by Curse at long. They're exchanging some nades at this point. Damage being done to both fronts, but compLexity is certainly taking the brunt of it, while Simpus and Sean Gares have barely any HP left over at long A. But it looks like Curse is actually kind of shifting gears a little bit, heading over towards mid, going to smoke CT spawn out, and they are going to go ahead and rush that mid to B strat. Now there's a small gap in the smoke. CT's definitely spot this, get all the information. They know that they're going B, but Simphis is actually able to take down one. So a 3 versus 4 at this point. It does favor compLexity just a bit with the man advantage, but like I said, they have some really low health players. Everybody from Curse is in pretty decent shape. So we'll see how the rest of this round plays out. We do see Skadoodle here just right by the window. Spotting one there, takes off the dome of Simphis with a nice headshot there. Smoke up inside the door. Waiting to see if compLexity can make some type of retake on the site. And it's looking pretty good so far. It's come down to a 1 versus 2 now. Mossbeck going to get taken down. Hiko will get the retake, but I don't know if they really had time to defuse. They may or may not have had a kit. And it looks like they did have it, and they did get to defuse, and so we're all good to go. For compLexity, that was a great opening round. Pretty rare to get CT pistol rounds because of the Glock, but they were able to do it.
Yeah. It looks like I think we might see a little bit more animation out of Simphis than we've seen. You know, he's getting pretty hyped here for this match. He wants it. He wants it badly, and he's been fairly quiet for a guy that's been awfully loud at LANs in the past. Has been fairly quiet today. I think that may change in this matchup.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as, of course, compLexity going to go ahead and start buying up those guns, get those FAMASs. They also have an M4 and a P90 in hand. So we're waiting to see if Curse can try to make some type of eco round happen. Looks like they are going to once again attack mid. Mossbeck is leading the charge, rushing mid to B, spots one in the window, pops off some shots, but none are connecting. Simphis, in the meantime, has been able to put down one. Mossbeck jumping into the site, gets caught off guard by Swag, who was able to outmaneuver him. Swag getting a second frag, a third frag for him. So he just needs one more for the 4K, but Sean Gares will get it instead. And compLexity just continuing the pattern right now, 2-0.
Yes, sir. So with that, we'll see. And yes, Curse going ahead and buying up. I was about to say we will probably see a third round buy from Curse, given that they get that plant down. So with the money, we've got an op on Skadoodle's back. We've got a Galil on Adren's back. Everyone else with AKs.
Right. So we are going to watch here as Curse is going to go ahead and start pressing long. They did get the bomb plant, so they, like you said, they did go ahead and buy up the AKs and Galils as well as an op for Skadoodle. Skadoodle will actually get the opening pick there onto Swag. Let's see if Curse can keep it going. They will be in an awful money situation if they were to lose this round, which will definitely give compLexity an edge. But if they could win this, it would certainly pay dividends for them to get an early gun round in. So we are seeing Curse, you know, get control of this pit area of long A. Go ahead and smoking off the cross. As Sean Gares and Hiko are going to be stacking cat, so they're deciding to give up long, which Curse will gladly take. So they're slowly edging their way up, trying to check all their corners, making sure they don't get caught off guard. And I'm not sure where they're actually planning on going. Looks like everybody's really committed to long except one player left at mid with the op. I believe that's Skadoodle. Everybody else, like I said, really shifted towards long and focus. Looks like they are just going to go ahead and take it here in a second. Going to be trading some shots with a couple of players towards CT spawn. Sean Gares, though, going to be getting one. Anger trying to see if maybe he can make a play, but Sean Gares just keeps taking him down with the FAMAS. We'll switch to him. So he's just holding him off the best he can here from this elevator spot. Jumps up, makes a peek, and a call for his team to throw some nades, and here they come. Great playing here between Sean Gares and Hiko from CT spawn. Simphis also chiming in with one now through the crossing, and so now it's all up to Adren, and Sean Gares will take him down too. So that's 3 frags for Gares. And, of course, Curse will now definitely have to save, which will definitely give compLexity a chance to bring this to 4-0.
Yeah, and that's the risk with that third round bye that you run into occasionally is you do have that chance to lose, especially when you're playing a team that also, I mean, they had other guns. They had FAMASs and stuff like that. So it wasn't like they were playing with weak guns. So that's a risk you take, and now they put themselves into a save here. But really just, you could tell, really great comps from compLexity that entire round, just the way they worked together to be able to hold that off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sat behind their table a lot when I wasn't casting, and the communication between that team is just on point at all times. You never see anybody get, like, angry and rage and not make a call. Everybody's calling. When they're dead, they're talking to their other dead teammates, trying to figure out, hey, what can we do next round? What are we seeing? They're in constant communication. What you would expect at this level of Counter-Strike, and it was kind of refreshing to see that. But, of course, that eco round was just really quick. Curse just tried a long rush to get something done, but got completely shut down. This is their next gun round attempt to try to put something up against compLexity.
Yep, and we'll see what they can do here. As you said, you know, last round they just did a quick push out of long, and now they're going to spread out across the map and just try to figure out where the weakness is, where they're going to be able to get some action as they drop the bomb and are just waiting to figure out where they want to go.
Yeah, we do see Hiko engaging at long right here onto Anger, doing a fair amount of damage. Anger trying to hold him off the best he can, but Hiko has definitely brought him down about halfway, as he will just hold long by himself. In the meantime, it looks like the rest of Curse is just kind of up around mid. Have a couple of players actually guarding mid. Simphus and company actually have a bit of a crossfire there, while Sean Gares could easily assist with the op if need be. They are going to watch Skadoodle here. His scope fixated on those double doors, trying to see if he can spot anything. Going to go ahead and throw a smoke and just kind of block it off for now while Curse starts putting their feelers out on the catwalk to see if they can get a pick. Typical play on Terror's side of Dust 2, just getting control of mid and cat and just kind of working from there. You can do so much with that control. We're just waiting to see what Curse can do with it. Now, they already have dropped one player, so they do have a little bit of a disadvantage here, and the time is ticking away. They're going to have to make a decision here pretty soon on where they want to plant this bomb, as they will choose to go A and cross the catwalk. Sean Gares has gotten one, misses the second shot, but nothing is there to collect the frag anyway. Skadoodle with his op will go up against Sean Gares, and he'll get the kill. Great play from Skadoodle. AZK also doing some great stuff. So a 2-on-2 here. Hiko getting one. Now a 1 versus 2. AZK going to have to try to win this round for Curse. Nice headshot onto Hiko now. 1 versus 1. He's going to pop a nice nade on this flag. Does a little bit of damage there, but he's still at a health disadvantage. He's got to play this smart. He's going to pop a flash there on the A ramp. So we'll see it. Swag and Clutch. He did this against Very Games last lane. Everybody remembers that moment, and he's able to do it again, but a little bit differently. But it doesn't matter. It's still a victory for compLexity, and they will just continue to roll it out right now. It is now 5-0 Curse, desperately needing a round sometime soon.
Yeah, they were able to, they bought up that round and were able to just sit and work. They just waited a really long time, just trying to put the feelers out. They were sitting out in the mid and then finally worked up Cat, like you said, putting those feelers. But then they got up. Sean Gares was able to hold him off long enough to be able to get up, to get his team to rotate and help him out from the CT spawn area and come up and really do some support there. So Sean Gares did a good job holding him off, and then Swag coming in late with the clutch.
Yeah, Curse still able to buy. Looks like they're just rifling up, though. No op this time around, which is fine. Skadoodle is definitely capable of rifling as well. But they certainly need to get themselves a victory here pretty soon. The momentum is starting to look pretty harsh. Mospec does actually get an opening pick at mid. And it turns out into an equal trade. For some reason, he just gave it up and fell back. There's a bit of a mishap where they got caught on each other at the double doors, which gave compLexity a chance to trade back. So it's come back down to a 3 versus 3. Hiko able to pick up a frag, though, on the Skadoodle, so that brings it back over to Cole's side of the court, so to speak. We're just waiting to see, can Mospec prove himself here? He needs to make a play right now for his team. Anger, who has been hot this lane, can also be the playmaker. They need a round, and this is still a winnable one for them. We do see Anger here just kind of chilling out at the Xbox. Some shots being traded through the doors. Mospec sneaking his way into B. Does spot 1 CT in the window. He's going to try to make an entry here. We'll go ahead and fire off some shots on the window player, but not landing. Pulls out a nade. Oh, he's getting caught in that awkward moment right now. 1 door, 1 window. Going to have to try to shoot them both. Gets the door player. He's got to try to get this window player, though, too. He's putting lots of pressure on. He doesn't get it. Swag kills him. And then Swag turns around and takes out Anger, too. Braxton Pierce has definitely showed up to this event right now. Great plays.
Yeah, two big plays in a row from Braxton. We'll see if he can continue to do that. But like you said, Curse really in a situation now where they need to try and get around under the belt. They've got to try to find something that works against compLexity. Right now, compLexity rotations have been fantastic. They've been able to go ahead and rotate their team around great comms. They are reading everything that Curse is doing very, very well and executing their holds perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a whole different set than what we saw last time. Last time was kind of close, and this time it's a one-sided victory so far for compLexity. We'll see if Curse can fight back, but this is an eco round that quickly goes to Cole, and it's now 7-0, looking very, very dominant. Unless Curse figures something out soon, this map is about to slip out of their hands.
Yeah, I mean, this is generally Dust 2. It can go either way, but generally most people find it to be more terrorist-sided than CC-sided, and Curse has not been able to find anything that works. And we'll see if they can go ahead. I think they need to try to get some early picks somehow with that Oppa Skadoodle. Maybe he's going to go and push into the B tunnels. We'll see if he picks into B. That's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, he has got his op fixated there, checking for the Xbox area. There is one CT in the area that is kind of jumping up. Skadoodle knows he's there. He's going to get the shot, swag through the nade, gave his position away a bit, and Skadoodle was right there to execute. And so we will see a B take here from Curse. Simphis, though, lined up in the window. Going to go ahead and take a quick peek, spot some here at the tunnel's doorway. Trying to do some damage, but not going to happen. AZK will be there to collect the frag. 3 left here. Excuse me, 2 left now for compLexity after that trade. 4 versus 2. Anger going to take out Sean Gare, so Hiko is going to probably just look to save this M4 and T-spawn. They still have a very comfortable lead even after losing this round, so no need to press the issue. Just going to try to save this M4, get some exits, and try to keep it going. Of course, Curse finally getting themselves a victory with this round. Maybe they might be able to use that to build something, but they still do have a lot of work left to be done if they want to get back in this map.
No, it's a good victory for them as well. They didn't drop very many players as Anger takes down Hiko. Hiko deciding to push in there and try to work some of the exits, and just ran directly into Anger as he was coming up through the tunnels trying to find that exact scenario going on. And so he takes out Hiko. And now as we look at the money across the board here, and actually the buys are happening, obviously plenty on each side for this round and probably next round before we'd see a save if compLexity was to lose this one.
Yeah, like I said, compLexity is doing fine. Even though they did lose a round, they're still in very, very comfortable conditions. So we just have to wait for Curse to make the plays. They have to get back in this. It's so close right now. So tense for Curse. So we do see them trying to gear up in those B tunnels. Some aggression on Cat, able to nade down in there and do a little bit of damage to Anger. It looks like Curse is just trying to work the door and work the mid here, just trying to see if they get any picks. But no one from compLexity is really over-peaking. They're playing mid control. They have 2 towards the B side that's both kind of spotting mid. So they have perfect setup for any type of mid execution from Curse, while Sean Gare's just kind of holding down long with the op. So you see Simphis peeking that crack. He just wants to see if people are coming out. Then he'll be able to make the call and get a good crossfire with his teammates.
Wow, they saw the smoke come out, and he immediately assumed they were rushing mid, which is what you would expect. He wasted his 2 flashes because of it. So good on Curse being able to get flashes out of Simphis' hand, as that does play into retakes. It
really does. I mean, some people shortchange that, but it is kind of important. But in the meantime, Hiko has went ahead and pulled off a pair of frags on the catwalk, and that is certainly going to cripple Curse, as they don't have very much time left to get something done in this 3 versus 5. Skadoodle's going to miss the op shot, and nothing makes him pay for it with a couple of frags there. 1 left at long, which is going to be Mossbeck, trying to see if he can get something going. But with very little time left, he's just going to get hot by Sean Gares there at the long crossing. And so another round goes to compLexity. Curse enjoyed some success, but not for very long, as compLexity is just dominating this match so far.
Yep, and with that, Curse is still going to be able to buy here this round, but I think if they go ahead and buy an op, that they won't be able to buy. Nope, it'll be close. Just because of how the bonus money, yeah, they won't be able to buy next round if they were to lose this one. So a big round here as we're getting into the last third of this half. Curse definitely needs to go ahead and pick up this round as they're doing a quick push into B.
Yeah, they definitely are. Nades coming out here, lots of spraying coming down. It's been kind of an equal trade so far, but Curse AZK does go ahead and get a little bit of an edge there with that frag. They do have the 1-man advantage. Let's wait to see what they want to do here. The bomb will just go ahead and get planted at B. CTs will be trying to retake through CT spawn as well as actually one flanking through T spawn to the B tunnels. It's going to be Hiko. So I'm not sure if compLexity really wants to go for this or if yet again they're just kind of looking for an exit. Seems like Sean Garrett is just posted up waiting for, like I said, some type of exit. But unfortunately for him, AZK was just kind of able to flank him around from mid. Hiko is actually kind of going for it, I think. 1 versus 2. Guess he just maybe wants to try to get these guns down. Why not? Got plenty of money in the bank to go for this, and he will actually go ahead and fall. But like I said, compLexity still has a very comfortable lead at this point, but Curse has shown us some signs of being able to win, but it's just not consistent.
Yeah, compLexity there, the big lead with big money, and so Hiko goes ahead and tries to just, you know, I don't think he really expected to be able to win that one, not with 2 up and with the amount of time left on that bomb timer, like you said. Pretty sure he was just attempting to get a frag or 2 and get some guns down off of them. So with that, we've got Curse now doing another fairly quick push out to long A this time.
Yep, just pretty much sending everybody at long at this point, trying to get control of it. They may or may not decide to take, or once they get control, they may just leave a player behind and then work back around to mid. This really depends on what they feel is best. But Sean Garrett's going to be posted up with the op here from the A platform, trying to check out long. So far, he hasn't spotted anything, but he soon will, as Curse is gearing up to go ahead and start pressing the issue. Some flashes are going to come out. Sean Garrett's just keeping his op ready on that A platform, and here does come Curse rushing down long. He's going to miss his first shot, but he's going to reload and try again. Misses the second one. See if he can collect himself and get something flying. Gets a headshot there onto a German, but he's getting rushed now by everyone. Tries to get something going, but Anger is going to shut it down, but that's okay. Nothing's able to rotate around and pick up the slack. And so now it's a 3 versus 2 that favors compLexity, but not now. Mossbeck able to get one. Skadoodle gets one. It's a trade. 1 versus 1. Swag versus Skadoodle, and Swag sneaks up the cat and gets that last kill, and he will get the defuse. Picks up a knot for his teammate Sean, and another round goes to compLexity. Now up 9-2. They are looking very sharp.
Yeah, Curse there playing that. They actually will put that smoke out and put the pressure early on long, and then went ahead and let it fall back. A lot of teams, there's quite a few teams that do a strat where they'll do just that, put the smoke out, put a pressure out long, and then, as you said, quickly rotate back out of there. That round, Curse doing a variation on that. They put the pressure out, then just kind of sat around long for a little bit before throwing the flashes and doing the take. Unfortunately, compLexity didn't fall for any of that. They just sat and held their spots, which is one of the things that compLexity is very, very good at, not over-rotating there.
Yeah, there's going to be an eco for Curse, and Swag immediately lays one down at the B tunnels. See what the rest Curse wants to. Looks like they're actually kind of gearing up towards mid and catwalk right now with that bomb. Seems like they're just going to go ahead and continue to go ahead and press up catwalk. Nothing is going to be the player, I believe, in the area. Yeah, there he is. NCT spawn. He's going to be rotating around. Sean Garrett's going to be watching the cross with the op. He's going to go ahead and put down 2. Nothing. Going to collect 1 as well. One Terrace just kind of ducked down in the sight, but a nice nade comes in from Sean. Going to blow right up in AZK's face. But at least AZK was able to get the plant. That will get him some money. But the problem is they need to do something with that money. They're letting too many rounds slip away. I mean, DDoS 2 is historically in Go, you know, slightly more T-sided. Teams even pick T-side first on DDoS 2 a lot of times. You know, Curse struggled against NIP a little bit on T-side, and they were still able to do okay on CT side. But the bottom line is compLexity is completely in control of this, and Curse needs to figure out something very, very soon, or this map goes to compLexity with ease.
Yeah, well, and you wonder how their match against NIP really plays into this as far as Curse is concerned. You know, these North American teams obviously play much different than the European teams. That said, NIP has historically, because it is such a random map, had some issues on Dust 2. It's one of those ones that they have, and so the fact that Curse is successful against NIP on it, not really surprising, but here compLexity seems to have Curse's number.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of funny, just a little tidbit. Curse beat compLexity on this map during the regular season and online play. But like I was like talking to Hiko, he said they've changed so much stuff since then, so that's obviously not really an issue. We are seeing Curse attempt once again to do some type of mid to B attack, but Swag has been able to put a stop to it, and it's come down to an even 3 versus 3. Hiko is already on the retake path from CT spawn, able to pick up Anger, who peeked out window, able to take down AZK as well, and able to take out Skadoodle. What a 4K, or excuse me, 3K out of Hiko. Swag had a pair from window to start it off. And like I was saying before, looking at the stats page, Hiko's been an absolute monster. He typically always is, and you just saw evidence of it right there.
I don't even understand why Curse was peeking out like that one after another.
The bomb was down.
Oh,
on window.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it. So that makes a lot more sense. Didn't see it up there on the radar. So having to go out and get that bomb, Hiko playing it just right, though, peeking the last player there in the site perfectly as he came out and got it.
I think the first person actually accidentally ran out with the bomb, and then the second one had to go out to go get it is what I think happened there. So, of course, someone making a mistake, not realizing they had the bomb,
right.
and then it just kind of throws their whole round away, basically. So just kind of a fatal error, as you can't really make mistakes against good teams like compLexity if you're Curse.
Right.
So we are going to see Curse's bot. You know, this is the second to last round of the half. They do have Galils and such. Looks like they're going to be pressuring B yet again, but Swag's been so successful here holding B. We'll see if he can do it here again. Simp is able to pick up one. Swag still alive, picks up one himself. Nothing has already rotated and grabbed one. So trades back and forth here. Mossbeck has very low HP while he's planting the bomb. AZK also pretty low. Meanwhile, Hiko and Sean Garrett's fully geared out. Mossbeck will be called the clutch here with just 4 HP, and it's just not going to happen. Hiko too strong right now. We'll get the defuse now. 12 to 2. We'll take a look at the scoreboard real quick. We'll try to take a look at the frag counts for both teams. As you can see, Hiko on the verge of a 20 bomb. Swag not too far behind, and Sean. I mean, everybody's doing well. Simp is struggling just a little bit, but when the rest of his team's so successful, it's okay. Meanwhile, on Curse's side of things, wow, I did not realize that Adren was that far behind.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, he is really – we talked about his stats before, and we've mentioned it for some of the other players, but he has had a rough event so far, and it is not any better here today on this map. 0-13, not something we usually see from Adren, but certainly having a tough event and not being able to put anything together. And we do give him a little leeway for being an in-game leader. That said, we have seen plenty of great in-game leaders that are fragging. You know, Days comes to mind. He was a very solid fragger as well as in-game leader, so you can't really use that as much of an excuse.
That's true. Days is a perfect example of a player who could be an in-game lead and also frag just as hard as anyone else. And in fact, most people considered Days the best player in North America before he left. Now it's kind of up in the air. You know, some of the compLexity players like Hiko, certainly very strong North American players that could be at that, you know, title. AZK also a really strong player in his own right, so tough to call here. Whoa, what a shot there from nothing. You don't see him with the yacht very much, but he can still make you just get startled when you see his plays sometimes. It's just nuts. Mossbeck's trying to make something happen in mid, but nothing, just rotates with the yacht through CT spawn, pops off 2 more frags, wins that half 13-2, and Curse is up against the ropes right now. 1 more punch and they're out. This map anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is really just at this point you have to wonder. Now we've seen crazy comebacks in the past in CS. You know, it's not unheard of, but this particular one is going to be awfully tough to come back from. And I bet you Adren is a little shaken right now. I mean,
did he actually go 0-15?
He went 0-14. So
oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not sure. You know, so he didn't die 1 round, but he also didn't drop any frags. But that's, I mean, you know, as an experienced LAN player, you say those types of things don't bother you, that you just know you got to overcome those types of adversities.
But it does.
But it does. Yeah. Every player is going to get shaken when they have a half like that. It doesn't really matter who you are.
I mean, I talked to both Mossbeck and Adren after they beat compLexity before they were going into the net match. And Mossbeck knew he had to step it up. He knew he was performing bad, and Adren knew it too. You know, he even said, man, everybody else is performing and I'm not. And that is how it is, how it has been.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, that's just how it works. But you can't win LANs when you have 2 players performing way under what they're used to performing, like online. Especially against a good team like compLexity, where, like we saw on the stats page, literally every single player on that team is performing at this event. They're all positive. They all have high ADR counts. They're all fragging hard. You know, they're just playing better.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it really comes down to, and it's not like Adren historically performs poorly at LAN. He usually does very well. In his CS Source days, he was often voted, you know, by the community MVP of those LANs, and now we're seeing it here and Go. And this is true for most players. They're not the players they were in their game of choice before coming to Go. And Adren, while still a very solid player, clearly here at this event, not putting up the numbers that he would have or used to. in the CS Source days.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking a whole new role being a rifler. He barely ever touches a sniper anymore, and he was definitely, like, him and AZK used to be voted, like, top oppers in the world in Counter-Strike Source at one point. I think, like, one article did, like, a top 10, and they were 2 of the top 10. Meanwhile, AZK, on the other hand, has transitioned very well into Go. But like we said, AZK and Anger have been performing really well. Scudo's also, had some really big plays and has done pretty well at this event as well. But, yeah, Drin and Mospec are just not where they need to be for their team to be successful. Meanwhile, compLexity's whole roster is just doing well. I mean, I guess, we saw there in that first half, Simphus was a little bit behind, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he had 2 players almost dropping 20. It's kind of hard to get frags when that's happening. So, yeah, just overall, compLexity is just like a fine oiled machine. They're just running perfect. Meanwhile, it's like Curse has a flat tire. They still have movement, but it's just not going the way they want to. It's rough.
Yeah, and nothing, it was really tough for them to try to execute. It is clear that anything they tried to execute, compLexity just seemed to have their number. It was really, I mean, it was just like, okay, Curse is trying to do this. They're throwing good flashes. They're putting good smokes up. And compLexity was always just right there in the right spots, played the right angles, and we saw it time and time again. So we'll see if compLexity has something up their sleeves for these pistol rounds. I mean, these are the sort of ones you want to just put it away quick. So why don't you, run something on pistol round, get yourself your wins, and get out of here and move on to the next map with a good feeling. Don't let Curse come back into this. That's the other thing. As compLexity, yeah, you're way ahead and you want to win this convincing. Make sure you don't let Curse back into it at all, though. You don't want to end this with a 16-10 when you're up 13-2. You want to end this in the next 4 rounds because you want to be able to say, yeah, we dominated throughout. You don't want to put any doubt in your mind that, hey, we didn't play well towards the end of that match. You don't want to give up those 8 to 10 rounds right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hiko's going to have some words for me after this one. We have kind of a standing joke where Hiko always assumes that I favor Curse over compLexity every time they play against each other. Which isn't true. I totally love to see both of them do well. I guess that's just kind of like a pride for your country type thing. And Curse kind of already had their chance at NIP today, and it didn't work out. So I think I would kind of like to see compLexity have their chance. NIP's such a great team, and North Americans rarely get a chance to play against them, so maybe we'll see something different. But compLexity has to finish this one first and then move on to map number 2 and finish that as well, as they already are doing very well in this pistol round, taking full control of B. Lost 1 player in the mix, but the bomb will get planted with no problems. It's up to Curse, AZK, Skadoodle, and Adren to try to make the retake here, as all of them are going to be approaching from CT spawn outside the bomb site. Looks like they're gearing up to go ahead and retake, but Simphus shuts him down at the window. Sean Gears gets one as well. AZK gets a couple, but in the end, Hiko is able to end it. And so it is now 14-2. Like I said, I really didn't know which team would win this because I think they're pretty close, and the last set kind of proved that with that Inferno overtime session that we saw. But I definitely didn't think it was going to be 14-2 in either one's favor.
No, I mean, this is not generally what we've seen when the player bases on these two teams have met in both the regular season and playoffs in the past, and here it's always been very, very close, and this is not something we're used to seeing here. That said, we expect to see compLexity here pick this up rather quickly now, as compLexity, again, putting some pressure on B, and then they're just, look at them, they're running here long now with no one even close to A, which they knew was going to, wow, it doesn't even matter. What I was saying is they knew that Curse was going to have to do a quick rotate if they wanted to try to shut down the round. So they put the pressure on to B, forced a quick rotate, and then go ahead and take it long. Ended up not mattering, able to take them out with their P90s and whatnot over in the B bomb site anyways. So 1 round away from moving on to the second map, which is DE Inferno, another map that historically not particularly good for Dynamic. So we'll see if compLexity can finish this up now, as Curse obviously buying up to try to win.
Yeah, absolutely. They have no choice. Like, literally. They have to try to win something here, but nothing. Just too strong at long A. Getting those 2 headshots. Hiko immediately gets one himself. Anger getting shut down by Hiko on the catwalk. Mospec, last man standing. Sean Gears takes him down. Flawless round to end that half. 16-2 overall score. And even though compLexity was beaten by Curse, earlier on, in a close Inferno match, and then kind of a skunk out on Cash, completely different story in this set. waxes Curse 16-2, and they started on the side that typically most people think is at the disadvantage, and they were still able to pull out a 16-2 victory. So if there was any doubt, about compLexity versus Curse, a lot of people before this event started said that Curse was on a whole nother level. No, compLexity's right there, and they just proved it.
Yeah, it just came down to compLexity that entire time. Just looked like they were executing everything they wanted to, just that much better than Curse. Their retakes, their rotations, everything was perfect compared against what Curse was trying to accomplish. So it worked out great for them. They were able to get a huge win, and that's a big, big momentum thing for them to be able to go ahead and move into this next match or map with all of that momentum, obviously shaking Curse up a bit, I imagine, especially someone like Adren who did perform really, really poorly that match. He's going to be wondering, what can I do in the next map to give us a chance?
Well, let's take a look at it this way. Inferno's next. Inferno is something that Adren said was Curse's strongest map, or at least they felt really strong on it. Last time these two teams played on Inferno was just earlier this event, earlier today. It went to 2 overtimes, and Curse was able to finally win it. But the problem is this is going to be the test for Curse. That they lose really bad in the first map. You have to be able to keep your composure, throw that out the window, and focus on this next one. We have to see if they're capable of doing that. They're most of those players are LAN season veterans. They played a lot of Counter-Strike Source LANs as well as playing a few CS:GO LANs. So you would hope that they had that experience to just go ahead and throw that out and really focus on this map and try to do well. But at the same time, even if you are in the back of your head, you just know you just got waxed.
Right.
And outclassed and on almost every level on that last map, getting beat 16-2, and that's really tough to swallow and move on and try to just still perform at your best and hope that you can contend in the second map and press the series on. So we'll just have to wait and see if that can happen. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have some stuff. What's that? Oh, yeah, check out the tweet there. Remember that you can hit us up at ESEA.net on Twitter. And we will post those tweets on there, and there you can see the top players so far at the LAN. Get right, not too surprising. Forrest, also not surprising. Anger, though, I know Anger in the past has struggled at some LAN events, and he's even said that, and to be in third place at this event is definitely very good. Hiko, not surprising to be right there, and Nothing, of course, also doing very well. So with that, we are going to take a quick break, but then we will come back for Inferno to finish map 2 of the set.